My dad was so hell bent on you have to be 25. Is the proper age for a woman to get married, and for a man, he has to be 30 years of age for him to get married. I'm just like mixing and I'm just telling the story anyhow, but yeah. Hello guys and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, I am so grateful for you, super grateful for you, and I love you. If you're new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Just click on the subscribe button and subscribe, and guess what? Subscription is actually free. You don't need to pay for subscription. Very free. Click on it and that's all. Alright, so let's dive into today's video. It's basically gonna be a question answering video. I've gotten this question quite a number of times, and I just decided that you know what, let me just do a YouTube video answering this question and giving you guys a detailed story of how exactly I did it, right? A lot of you guys have been asking me how I told my parents I was gonna get married, because like you all know, I got married at the age of 23, right? So I get a lot of questions of like, oh my goodness, that's so young. How did you although, a lot of people tell me that 23 is not young. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be putting up comments I got from one of my latest posts on TikTok. Someone asked me the same question, right? How did I tell my parents I was going to get married at the age of 23? So you guys sit back and let me just you guys story time. All right, so let me just start the story by saying that it's a typical African parent thing, and my parents were not any different. Like, let me not say my parent, my dad, he wasn't any different, right? My dad was so hell bent on you have to be 25. Is the proper age for a woman to get married, and for a man, he has to be 30 years of age for him to get married. So what happened was that, right, me and my boyfriend we were already dating, and the whole marriage talk began to come out, and all of that. Obviously, I told my mom first about it, and then she went on to help me tell my dad about it. Oh my goodness. So this fateful day, my daddy called me. I remember this day like, oh my god. He called me this day and was like, so there's something your mom told me, African parents, African dad. There's something your mom told me about a guy saying that he wants to marry you. I'm like, yes, sir. He was now like, Bibi, because at home they call me Bibi. He was like, Bibi, how old are you? I was now like, I'm 23. Can I say you're 23? Now tell me, what do you know about marriage? Oh my goodness. And he sounded so angry, like I had just said the most abominable thing in this planet Earth. I just kept quiet. Like, what do you know? In fact, what do you think you know about men? What do you know about this young man? So he started asking me questions. What's his name? What does he do? Those kind of plenty questions. The end of that conversation shall led to the fact that he shouted at me and told me that he doesn't want to hear that kind of conversation with me again. Like he doesn't want me to bring up that conversation again, basically. you know he was like, I don't know anything about marriage, I'm still too young and I have to finish school and stuff like that. Like, I think his mentality is that you have to finish school, get a job and stuff like that. At least once you are 25 you are matured enough for them. Now, when I knew that my daddy was like this, right, my mom obviously wanted me to get married. I don't think she was so hell-bent on the age or anything. Oh my goodness, yes, she was. She was actually, but it was easy to bend my mom, right? It was easy to bend my mom than to bend my dad. Anyways, let me just fast forward to, after that whole drama with my dad. After that whole drama with my dad, oh my goodness, I told my fiance and all of that. I appreciated the fact that he didn't make it look so, like, ah, your dad, what are we gonna do? You're just like, don't worry, there's nothing this conversation cannot fix. Me knowing fully well who my dad is. That is like the emperor, the conqueror, the lion. I'm going to chamber. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Like, we have to devise a means before you can finally meet this man. The girl was like, I beg, is it not a human being? At the end of the day, there's nothing a conversation cannot change and all of that. I was like, okay, yeah, yeah, sure, but even though I think like we need like to do something about it, because at the end of the day he's my dad. He's the one that's going to give me out in marriage, right? Not my mom. My boyfriend then kept calling my mom. It was like he kept disturbing her, like, tell your husband now, tell your husband about me, that kind of thing. And she was on her end, she was like, I've told him now, what else do you want me to do? And stuff like that. And when it was looking like, even at that point, my boyfriend then, he wanted to meet my dad. My dad also helped me on the fact that he didn't want to see him. He didn't want to see him. He didn't want to hear of him. That kind of thing. I should move it on. And it was looking like you want to be an embarrassment. You have not even finished school, you have to go and get married, blah blah blah, stuff like that, whatever. I don't believe this story. I'm just like mixing and I'm just telling the story anyhow. But yeah, you guys should just please get it. So he kept meeting my mom and telling my mom that please now talk to your husband. At least tell him that I want to meet him so that at least we can talk man to man. But my dad was hell bent on lie. I do not want to meet him. I don't want to meet him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to know anything about this marriage. As far as I'm concerned, blessing is not old enough to get married. And that was when we knew that we were supposed to pray. Let me just say that don't ever, ever, ever despise prayer. God, I can't even lie. I just think that prayers was what actually softened my dad's heart towards this whole marriage thing. You know, so we started praying. Me and my fiance, okay. Then we are not yet, if we are not yet fianced. What am I saying? We shall have not gotten to that level. We're shall still dating, looking to get married and all. He hasn't even proposed at that moment. But yeah, me and my fiance we started praying together. We honestly started praying together. I think that time we started praying every night. I'm not sure if it was every night, but we prayed concerning the situation. We prayed about God touching my dad's heart. We prayed about God touching some family members' heart that were intricate parts of this whole journey. God should just soften their heart about us and about our union and about the fact that we wanted to get married at this point and at this time, right? And don't just think that okay, you just happen and everything will just change. You guys, we prayed. It took a while, right? We prayed, we kept asking God to really help us. We kept asking God to really touch their heart and all of that. And guess what happened? So there was this day after a very long time. I never brought it up again to my dad. Like he said, he didn't want to ever hear of it. So one thing I would actually advise is, I think my first step here, or first advice I would give to you is to actually pray, right? If it's something you and your partner found out that you guys really want to do, and it's something God will have you do, that's another thing. If it's something that God will have you do and you're ready to go on this journey, please pray about it and just tell God to touch whatever family member that needs to be touched. Touch your parents, touch your mom, touch your dad, touch their heart, and just soften their heart towards the whole arrangement. I mean, the Bible says that the heart of a king is in the hands of the Lord. So there's nothing prayers can't solve, right? So pray about it. Honestly, talk to God about it. That has to be like my number one advice to you. And then the second thing I would also advise is that don't try and be disrespectful or try and shove it down to their throats that this is what you want, because I don't the a lot of people will tell you that you're a big girl is what you want, your parents don't want it, forget about it, or like sure, like talking to you in that whole direction. If it's what you want, then it's what you want. You know, my dear, at the end of the day, you are still their child, right? They still see you as their little baby, and just understand that whatever it is they are doing is not out of the fact that they hate you, right? It's out of the fact that they really love you and they feel like this is an act to protect you, that you still don't know this world as much as you think you know it, and you just want to go and dabble into one thing like that, and they can't deal with the fact that they'll watch you do something wrong and they would not um try to stop you or something like that. Yeah, so if you have that mentality, you try as much as possible not to be disrespectful to them to it. And this is something that I think I'm going to just thank my husband for, because at some point it just became so annoying, right? The time my daddy called me to talk to me about my husband and everything, and he was just trying to sound rude and he was just saying some annoying things. I was supposed to flare up. Like my normal reaction would have been to like flare up and maybe just reply to him rudely and stuff like that. But in the whole course of prayer and everything, and talking to my husband about the whole stuff. He had already like advised me that in this situation I should try as much as possible not to be disrespectful to my dad, because hmm, or my parents, basically, because of it, because they might not feel like, oh really, you think you have grown enough to want to do that, and you actually being disrespectful and trying to put it to them. You're trying to be the judge and say, it's what I want to get married. If you guys don't like it, whether you guys like it or not, it's my decision and stuff like that. They're just looking at you like, this person is just acting like a child. Like, that's not maturity at all. It's not maturity. Maturity is not speaking to your parent disrespectfully about that situation. Maturity will help you know how to talk to them. I think basically my second point is, don't be disrespectful to them. You know, don't try and be disrespectful to them in a bit to want them to get to see in a bit to want to get them to see your points. Maybe you're now disrespectful or trying to talk rudely and stuff like that. Please don't try to do that. Do not. It's not going to work for you. As much as possible, keep it on. Be on the respectful path. I don't even know how to emphasize it, but yeah, be on the respectful path. Okay. The third point I'm going to give you guys, I think I've already said it before with that whole respectful thingy, is to begin to act mature. Marriage is not for kids. Marriage is not for children. Marriage is between two matured adults. Let me not say between two adults. You have to be matured even as an adult, right? To go into this whole thing of marriage. Because marriage is not easy. Marriage is work. Relationship is work, right? So you have to be mature. And if you want them to, they believe that once you're 25, you're going to start acting mature and stuff like that. However, not all 25-year-olds actually act mature. But they believe that at least at 25 you have seen a lot. But the truth is that you can actually be 23, you can actually be 22, and begin to give off that matured vibe. Or more, even just the way you actually act mature, you're like, this guy, she really knows what she's doing. Or this guy, wow, this child acts way older than their age. You have to like begin to act mature. You cannot expect them to think that you are ready for marriage when you still act like the child that they think you are, right? I started to understand something about parents. Parents will never think that you grow. They never want their children to grow. They never want to think about the fact that, oh my god, this my little baby has actually grown, or is a lie. Lie cannot grow. You're still their little baby. There's not time already told me that even when I'm married and in my husband's house and something happens, that you come to the house and they can come and beat me. They always want to feel this thing of, you are still their little child, you're still their little baby. As much as they want you to remain their little child, they also want you to act mature. Do you understand? If you begin to give off that maturity vibe, there's some things you do, like you cannot now be in the house and then they are waking you up in the morning by 9. So, and wait, you're not 25 years old though. If you're 25 years old, now we can now understand that at that point, they will be telling you, here's your husband, please come and marry and leave this house. But now you're like 20, 21, 22, 23, and you want to get married. You're telling them that you're ready to settle down. And in the morning, you don't wake up in the morning to go and wash plates. They have to tell you, I gotta wash the plates now. I gotta do this now. Little things like this. Or just very repetitive. After you gonna do this one. Okay, I'm coming back home. Like you can't really make decisions for yourself. You can't really be on your own, things like that. And you want them to think that you are ready to go live with another human being. Are you serious? And start giving birth to other humans and raising other humans. Hmm. I'm sorry, my dear. Even if I'm your parents, I'm not gonna let you go. All right. So you have to start living like and acting like a mature person that you really are. You have to start giving off that maturity vibe. Yeah. So moving on with my story, what happened one time was that my mom called me and she was telling me of how my daddy called her and he was telling her that he had a dream. And in the dream, he saw that I was pregnant in that dream, and he was so furious. He was so angry that why will I go and pregnant? Why will I do this? After my mom told him that this young man have been telling you that he wanted to marry this girl since and you refused. Now look at the repercussion of it. And then in that dream, he was so angry. He was like, even though, are you serious? Even though I said that she should not get married, is that why she will not go and get pregnant, or is that why he will not impregnate her and stuff like that, blah blah blah. It was shy. According to her, like the dream was a very chaotic dream and everything. I know that's a very funny dream, right? Like it's very funny, but see, I know why God used that kind of dream to speak to my dad. Because if there's one thing that my dad has always dreaded is the fact that any of his children will go and bring shame to him. God knows I'm not that kind of person. Like I'm not that kind of person. I would never even want to get pregnant outside marriage. Never, 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 ever, ever, ever. Right? However, God had to use that kind of scenario, like paint it to my dad in a dream, so that I felt like it was really our prayer that really worked. God was really at work in the heart of my dad. God had to like show him his fears. I don't know, maybe like make him believe that if we don't do this thing, this will happen. Or it will not happen. But like it's just a thing of God just it was just a way of, because honestly, after that dream, right? After that dream, my mommy said that my dad started asking her like, what do you even say is the guy's name? What do you say he does again? Where do you say he's from? Like at that point, he started showing interest. He wanted to know more. Like, okay, what is it? Because for him, it's not a thing of fear. Like, hey, okay, let me even know. Do you understand? And after that, my mom said that he came back because I don't stay with them. They stay in Abuja, and I'm all the way here in another state, right? So mom said that he came back one time from one of his many plenty trips, and they started having a conversation with her again. Mind you, she had not spoken to him about any of this whole marriage thingy again. I have not spoken to him about it again. All we had to do was just pray about it and just live in peacefully. And she said that he just came back one day and started talking to her, like started asking her questions about my husband, what he does, where he is. He just wanted to know more. He started to show that interest that was never there before. It was just very, very funny. So we go to Winners Living Faith Church. So I think one of the Shilohs last year, where they are supposed to write prayer requests and all of that. Mommy said that in his request card he wrote how he wanted God to give him a sign, and he wrote down the sign that he wanted God to give him to know that if really like my husband is who God will have me marry, and if it is who God will have me marry now. My parents are Christians, so it's so easy to deal with them through God. I be with God, you know, and I I kid you not. Every single sign my daddy wanted, God really showed him. God showed him every sign that he wanted, and immediately he saw the signs that he wanted from God. You guys, Mary was one that was not championing the wedding. She was not like, okay, so when do you guys want to get married? My mommy was like, I think they should leave it like next year. Did she say next year? Yeah, she said next year ending. And my dad was like, no, now they can do it in the next 5 months. Then we were like, 5 months, how? Like, my dad says, she said, fast tracking the whole thing. He made things so easy for us. Like, and I know that it was just God, really. It was just God, and it was just wisdom. It was just God, and it was just wisdom. Honestly, is really profitable to direct because my dad said, mm, my dad said to ask me some kind of questions that you know you know that if you're not wise, honestly, and you just answer rubbishly, it can really make or mar the going forward of this relationship. Questions like, let me see if I can remember one.
Hours later.
I'm trying to remember some of the questions, but I can't really remember the questions. But I know that at that moment it was really critical. But I know I told him something one time that really, really, like, according to him, he told my husband later on. I never even knew Seb that it was something that really touched him. But I remember I told him that I've never in my life introduced any guy to him. Never. I've never told him, okay, daddy, you see, oh, there's this guy that maybe is even my friend or is my boyfriend or whatever, whatever. That if I am bringing this one person to him, you know. I told him that, do you think that this person is the only one that has asked for my hand in marriage, or like wanted to date me or wanted to marry me, but I am bringing this one to you. I just feel like at least the least you can do is want to just check him out. I'm bringing him to you because I believe that you're my father and you are wiser than me, and this is somebody that I actually like. He wants to marry me, I like him, but I would want you as my father to scrutinize this person, and I want you to give me your best advice about this person. The least you can do is at least want to check him out instead of just ruling him off like that without seeing him or anything. At least check him out, then speak to me like a daughter in your wisdom and what you think about this person and stuff like that. I think something that's related to all these blessed things I just said, and I didn't know it was something that really touched him. And guess what? I really got that idea from my husband to be at the moment, at that time. Yeah, he's not my husband. I really got the idea from him. But I'm actually so like extremely grateful to God for the wisdom, because I can't even lie. Like, you see, wisdom. God really gave us wisdom. God really, really gave us wisdom to deal with my parents, deal with people from my husband's side, because it would have been a lot of chaos. But the way everything went smoothly, it really was God. So I think that's basically everything to know about this question. If there's any other thing you guys would like to know, let me know in the comment section, and I sure will definitely answer your questions. Please, guys, kindly subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment. All right, and also hit the notification bell so that whenever I post a new video or new wholesome content like this, you would be the first to know. Okay, okay. Until next time, bye.